Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Factorio. I need to apologize. I thought I was recording this whole time. And I was not. Shoot, I've been commentating so much stuff. Oh, that's awful. I am so disappointed. But I want to show you guys what I've been working on, and then I'll try to explain everything. So let's do that. So it is unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's so unfortunate. Let me go ahead and place lights down real quick. So that way you guys can see the factory as I walk you through it at night. Oh, I'm so sad. I'm so sad, but let's try to make the best of a poor situation here. Let's try to make the best of a poor situation. Okay. It is becoming light anyway. So here's the end result. Here's where I was gonna end the video at, because I thought I was recording for like the last 45-ish minutes. So I was gonna end the recording here. So here's the end result. The end result is we're automating bullets, and we are currently automating belts and underground belts. Because A, we need a lot of belts and underground belts. But B, we also need a lot of bullets because I've got buddies I want to kill. I want to kill those guys, those guys, those guys, and those guys in order to clear out some space so I can make my factory bigger. We don't yet have copper on the bus. That's why I'm not assembling splitters yet, because splitters require copper. And they require copper because of the electronic circuits. So the game plan is I'm going to eventually tear this structure down and build it bigger once I get copper and green circuits on the bus. So that way I can do a structure where I go yellow belt into red belt into blue belt, right? And then yellow underground into red underground into blue underground. And then eventually, right, splitter, yellow splitter into red splitter into blue splitter, right? A structure like that. But since I don't have copper on the bus and I don't have green circuits on the bus, I'm not building a big structure like that. This is a temporary setup just to get me belts and undergrounds. That way I can keep growing things. I'll tear this down a little bit later. All right. So let's walk through some of the things that we've done so far, or that I did so far. So I've got this smelting structure. And the smelting structure is 48. Oh, I didn't highlight the whole thing. There we go. 48. Could have sworn I did 48. So we got 48 stone furnaces here because 48 stone furnaces is how many furnaces you need to completely fill a yellow belt with iron plates, right? Now, we don't have a fully compressed yellow belt of iron ore coming in. It is fully compressed right now, and that's because it's backing up because I'm not using all of the iron, right? So it's backing up a little bit. But I don't actually have 30 miners. Another ratio for you guys to know is that it takes 30 miners to fully compress a yellow belt when it comes to mining, assuming, of course, you're not using modules or beacons or anything like that. So we need 30 to fully compress this belt, and I've only got 24, and one of them is actually out of resources. So I've only got 23. So it's not fully compressed once we actually start using all the iron. And I'm okay with that for now, because I don't want to blow up the factory scale too quickly, blow up the pollution cloud, and then start making friends too quickly. I don't have enough items in place to be able to do that. So I want to minimize the production a little bit, just kind of build what I need for now to get the ball rolling, to get myself set up with enough things automated so I can go out and aggressively negotiate land expansion, right? So I want to do things like automate bullets. I want to automate turrets. I want to automate walls. So that way, as I kill these biter nests off, I can start walling it off. So that way scouting parties don't come back in and build nests where I killed them off. So yeah, so that's where I'm mining the iron ore and then routing that up. Down here, I have not electric mined any copper yet. Here I am electric mining the coal now. And the reason for that is because obviously my smelting needs coal, right? So I'm routing the coal up here, back up to my smelting column, back to the furnaces. The other coal that we did in the last video is still just being used for power. As far as our power consumption goes, we're still okay. So we don't need to expand power yet. We will need to expand power soon. Now there's a couple of other minor optimizations I did. First is I had to cut a lot of trees to do this. There was going to be a lot of fast forwarding in the video. Now I guess one fortunate thing is there's not going to be a lot of fast forwarding in this video. But I had to cut a lot of trees to run this line and cut a lot of trees to run this line. So I had a lot of wood. I didn't know what to do with it. I crafted some power poles. I crafted some boxes. But I didn't want to have like 1,000 power poles and like 500 boxes. So what I did is I set up a chest where I can dump any extra coal and wood that I have. And then I use the splitter's input priority function to route from this belt first before taking from this belt. And the idea is now that I've got wood kind of mixed in here, I'm not going to use this coal for assembling anything. I'm only going to use this coal for burning, because you can burn wood, you can burn coal, but you can't really craft too much with wood other than boxes and poles, right? There's not too much you can do with wood in vanilla. There's mods for that, of course, to make better use of wood, but in vanilla, there's not much you can do with wood. So I have a box here where I put the extras, and the goal here is this line is just going to be used for burning things, right? Running it through smelting columns. And that's how I'm going to get rid of that. I did the same thing here where I can place extra iron ore that I collect, like as I'm routing belts and things like that. I'll occasionally pick up ore. So I can put any extra ore that I pick up into this box. And again, I'm using a prioritized input to input from this belt first before inputting from this belt. So that way this box gets emptied and that box's ore gets used first. So yeah. So long story short, that's what we got done today. I also killed a couple of biter nests off as my radars. Oh, I also placed radars. I didn't place radars last episode. So I placed radars here. Basically wherever you see the white box. I placed a radar here. I placed a radar over here. Placed a radar over here. I have not placed a radar down here. I should. Let's go take care of that real quick. Let's also place more lights. I need more lights. We need more lights in our life. I need to light everything up. So yeah, let's place some lights. And then let's also place a radar down here by our coal, so that way we can see everything. Oh, I did already light the coal. Hooray, go me! So I lighted the coal. Let's go and place our radar here. There we go, now we can see the coal. Let's go ahead and place lights by our iron. Let's go ahead and just pick these up. Let's pick that up, because that ran out of iron. And let's go ahead and light this up. So I'm going to start from the top. And normally I would do every other one, but we're not doing every other right now. I will do every other pole too. Oh wait, no, that works actually. Every other line. So that works. Do that, and that. There we go. That will be lit up better at night now. But yeah, so that's what we got done today. We set up our mining. We set up our first smelting column of iron. We've routed coal to that smelting column. We found a successful way to get rid of all of our wood. I also was teaching a few tips and tricks kind of thing, so I guess I'll reteach those too. A couple of tips and tricks for you guys. First is, let me explain why the smelting column is designed the way that it is, right? First, you notice here you've got your coal and wood, right? You've got your coal routing through here, and it's going into a splitter, and then it's going into a pair of splitters. Now you can kind of see the end result of what happens, right? The ore comes up through here, it goes through this splitter to be split 50-50, and then I've got two different directions of belts going, right? So I've got one belt going this way and one belt going that way. And it's being side loaded onto the bottom half of the belt, and then it's going up, right? The coal is coming in here, going through this splitter, half of it's going this way, so that way I can use it later on for additional smelting, right? And the other half is going this way, and then being routed through this splitter to go on the inside, or the top side of the belt, and then being routed up. And then these furnaces are taking the coal and iron, smelting it into plates, and putting them onto a center belt, which is now being routed to our bus. So yeah, that's the basic structure. And the reason why this structure is cool and it works is because if you try to side load, you can still side load that way, and that'll work. But if you try to side load on just one side, it turns the belt. And if you want to side load potentially two belts, like I'm doing here, but have it go different directions, you can't really do that. unless you do it on the other side as well, like that. So to mimic this, you can also just use splitters. If you put a splitter here, it turns both belts, but you put a splitter here, and now you can side load on both sides with splitters. So that's what this setup does. It's pretty cool. And then for the poles, earlier when I thought I was recording, earlier I was running into a situation where I had some poles crisscrossing diagonally, and I'm just crazy. I don't like diagonal poles. I deal with it, right? It's an inevitability in Factorio. But something you can do about it, if you would like to, is let's say you have something, and this isn't what typically happens, right? But let's say you've got something like this with something in the middle, right? You've got some middleness going on. What you can do is you can make sure you have some copper cables in your inventory. You can shift left click on poles to remove the cables from the poles, like that. And now you can take your copper cables and reconnect the poles however you wish, as long as they're still within range of each other, right? So if I were to have a thing all the way out here where it's not in range, I can't use a copper cable to connect these two. It's out of range. The wire can't reach. It's out of range. But you can use the copper cable to connect the poles however you see fit. So if you want to ignore this middle, right, you can just go box, or you can just go click, 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 and now you've got your box and you're ignoring this middle pole, right? Now, one thing to note, doing that uses your copper cable. If I shift left click on this to remove the cables again, I don't get that cable back. The cable you use gets used. You don't get the cable refunded if you were to remove the cable again. Fortunately, copper cable is really cheap, so I don't mind that, but just as a note, you don't get that cable back. So I was running into a situation like that when I was setting this here up. Let's go ahead and grab more of this goodness here. All right, cool. So yeah, so we've got our bullets set up. We've got our belts set up. Up next, in the next episode of Factorio, I'm going to set up copper, so that way I can set up green circuits. And then I can set up splitters, and I can set up automating turrets for turret creep. I'm also going to want to set up stone, so that way I can start smelting that stone into brick, so I can start assembling that brick and turning it into walls. So that way, when I go out and kill these guys, I can wall that off and they don't come back. I'm probably going to have to kill them before I get walls, so I'm just going to have to kill them off and hope that they don't come back before I get walls. But yeah, that's the idea. That's what we accomplished in today's episode. That's the game plan for next episode. So again, I'm sorry you guys didn't actually get to see me place everything. You guys didn't get to see me chop a billion trees. But yeah, I don't really want to replay through this, so I don't want to go back to a previous save, replay it, and try to re-explain. So I'm just going to show what was done. Anyway, thank you so much. Hopefully you guys forgive me. But thank you so much for watching this short episode of me getting the hang of biterness. Yeah. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Take care, everybody, and have a wonderful day.